Good afternoon. I'm Kathryn from WinPure. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's the first time we've done this kind of a Q&A session. It's based on feedback from our clients, which is who we listen to. And we're really excited to be doing this. So please, can you like and subscribe or say how fantastic it is? It all makes a difference to my end of year salary negotiation. So it's really important. Click that like button. But it's really great to see you. Now we've got 3 of my clients waiting in the background. When I do training, we tend to work through real problems, not problems, but real issues they've got with their data as to how they want to solve the problem. And we come up with various ways that they'd be able to do that within the software. So each of them has one of the questions that came up during training for me today. And I'm going to be flicking onto our software to show you how I would perhaps resolve that problem or different ways of resolving that problem. But we really do want your questions too. You're not allowed to ask me any really hard ones that are going to put me on the spot because, yes, please don't do that to me. Be gentle. If I don't get around to answering your questions today, my colleague Matt in America will be doing this next month as well with 3 of his clients. So he will answer those questions then if I don't get a chance to today. But really appreciate you joining us. As I say, please do like and subscribe and join us again next month as well, especially if you had a great time this time, which I hope you will. So the first person I'm going to bring into the room today is Francesca. I'm going to allow her to introduce yourself. Hi, Francesca. Lovely to see you.
Good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. Nice to be here with you.
Francesca, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm currently working as an implementation manager, and I come from a strong finance accounts receivable background. And something funny about me, I moved along Europe a lot, from Scotland to Spain, but I'm Italian originally.
Nice to be here. I never knew you were Italian originally.
I am. I always talk about food. You should have thought about it.
You know, yeah, you're right. You do. I hadn't clicked that, but I always talk about food, and I'm English, so it's a me thing. Right, Francesca, let me bring in Daniela. Welcome, Daniela. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hello, everybody. Well, my name is Daniela, and I live in Switzerland at the moment. I'm originally from Germany, and I've been working for a company in the machinery industry, and I have been working with lots of systems and also came to cleaning up our master data several times now, and this is now the most complex one. So we want to have some support with the WinPure software, and this is how I got in contact with Kathryn, asking her questions and challenging her, and she got a good reply for that. So.
Oh, I like that one. Thank you, Daniela. And now let me add to the chat, Mark. Hi, Mark. How are you today?
Hello, I'm great. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Tell us a little bit about you, Mark.
So I work in the SAP arena, and more specifically in the data migration field primarily. So data migration, data management, data governance, that kind of thing. And I've been doing that for nearly 25 years now. But the project that I'm working on now is a very unique situation. And that's why I reached out to WinPure to procure the software and do a huge data deduplication exercise, which we're
going to have fun, aren't we, Mark?
Actually, yeah.
We are indeed. Mark is my newest customer. So we are going to be starting together very shortly, and we're looking forward to that. So let's kick this off and see if I can remember how to share screen and flick back again. Looking confident. Oh, I will just say hello to Michael, one of my customers I can see online. Good of you to join us, Michael. There's somebody called Relax from the USA. I'm not sure whether they are relaxed or... Anyway, they're saying good morning. Good morning, USA. Right, so Francesca, my first challenge today.
First challenge, the project I'm currently working on is all about finding the right vendor account between the thousands and thousands that we do have in our different systems. So actually trying to find the master record. So my question would be, How would I identify the master record based on the highest invoiced amount of my accounts?
Master record based on the highest invoice amount. Okie dokie. Let me do this whole flicking over to a shared screen thing. There we go. So I have preloaded the data sheets. These are dummy data sheets. So if anybody sees a company name, it is dummy data. So Francesca, now I'm actually trying to remember, we were matching on the vendor name and the city. Is that right?
I think we were matching on the VAT registration number.
Got you. We did an exact match on that one, didn't we?
Correct. We did an exact match because the fuzz
Okay.
match was not coming up with the right matching for us.
Because with a VAT
Especially-
registration number, we don't really want to be doing fuzzy.
Correct.
Doing.
Correct.
Good. Okay.
And then we used, I think, the amount invoiced from January 2020 then to identify the highest invoiced.
Okay, so let's do that again together so that everybody watching can see. So I'm going to do the matching exactly as Francesca said on the VAT number. Now, this is, I'm just unhide these system files for you. So this is where it's telling us the information about the matching itself. Now, obviously, this is all 100% because we've done an exact match. So what we were looking at here was these VAT numbers are all the same. And for Francesca's case, that meant that regardless of the address, the client was the same client. Is that correct, Francesca?
Well, it had the same VAT, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not looking at the addresses because we could have different branches.
Absolutely. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to look across at the amount invoiced here. So in group 1, who had the biggest spend? Well, as we can see, somebody owes you a lot of money because at some stage they're owing you 82,000 and you've got a lot of zeros. Whereas on the second group match below, we've got a clear winner as to who spent the most money with you. And as we go down, we can see this one would obviously be the master record. But in some of them, you've got zero or a negative amount. So how do we decide or get the system to do it for us what the master record is? Well, it's great because what we can do is we go to set the master record and we're going to tell the system that it needs to meet certain criteria. So we wanted it on the spend, which I'm just trying to amount invoice.
Kathryn, not sure if it's me, but I cannot see the window coming up. I can still see the main one.
Right. It might well be because I've shared the master screen and not the rules screen. So thanks for making me aware of that. Let me just flick and share my screen in a different way, which should hopefully overcome that. Let's just try that here. There we go. Right. So can you see that now?
Yes,
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
Super. Apologies, guys. So what we want to do is find that record that we talked about, which was the amount invoiced from January. And we want it to be the maximum value. Yeah? But on the ones that weren't the maximum value, do we have another rule? Or would you just do the most populated record from any if this rule isn't met? Or would you have a second rule, Francesca?
I think we just leave it as the most populated record anyway.
Brilliant. So we'll just leave it at the most populated record. We could choose the table, but we've only got one. And let's execute that. So now where we looked across and saw before about the spend, we can see that it selected the record either with the most information in it or the highest amount invoiced. Okay. Let's scroll down so that you can see. Can you see that nice and clearly?
Yes.
There we go. So that's the highest, obviously. But where we've got all zeros, it's looking at, well, what's got the most information in it? And that's how we're selecting our master record in your scenario.
That's great.
Obviously, then we can go on to do other things that I'm going to talk through with Daniela and Mark. But to select a master record, you can do as many values here as you like. And it can either have to meet all of those values, which in this scenario wouldn't be good, or any of those scenarios. Okay. So if you've only got one, then it's fine. But you could also say if it meets any of these, then make it the master record. And of course, you don't have to, if you don't want it to, then it doesn't apply the most populated record. So then it doesn't select a master record. Okay. Does that answer that fully for you, Francesca?
It does. Thanks so much, Kathryn.
You're welcome. I'm just going to have a little look at the questions coming in, if any. Hi, Kristen from Ireland. What part of Ireland? Northern or southern? Nice to see you, Ben. Hey, Jez. How are you? Jez loves asking me really complicated questions. He has a thing about it. Jez, you are not allowed to ask me a complicated question this afternoon, okay? You behave. So, Daniela, go on. Hit me with your question.
Okay. So we have different systems that are connected via interface. And we created one big list with 3 different lists in there. And there's a unique number combining those data sets. So I asked Kathryn if it's possible to leave these out.
Yes.
For example, it has the same number in 2 systems, so it's the same data set, and I don't want WinPure to match on that.
Yes. But what she actually said to me is, please, can you not match the matching records? Which kind of threw me a bit. I was like, you do know you've bought matching software, right? But we figured it out. And let me share my screen again to show you. And I'll make sure I do it on the full screen, the pop-ups. One sec, guys. Whoop. Sorry, I just had I don't know what it was sharing then. It was sharing something. There we go. Share. Okie dokie. So, again, I've got Daniela's data in here. Again, it is dummy data. So what Daniela wanted was go on, you say that word.
Geschäftspartner. Let's say just partner for the English speaking.
Yeah. I still can't say it after all this time. So the problem she had is where the Geschäftspartner number matched, it isn't a match. And yet a lot of the company names were the same and that number matched. So where she wanted to match on name and address, the Geschäftspartner number, she didn't want matching. So what we did is we went again onto an exact match because it's a number. So it's better to do exact matches on numbers. And as you can see here, obviously it's 100%. The Geschäftspartner number. Am I getting better at that, Daniela?
Yeah, every time.
Thank you. The Geschäftspartner number is a match here, okay? And you can see that the company name matches. And I think part of the address, let me just scroll across, matches. So if we were doing matching, this data is clearly a match. But where the Geschäftspartner, I said that quite fast then, the Geschäftspartner number is a match, she doesn't want those included. So what we did is we did the matching on this and went to the non-matches. And what we did with the non-matches is we moved them into a separate file so that we could then go to configuration. There's that new file. And now we can match on the company name. Oops, wrong one. On the company name. And Straße mit Hunds number is address line 1, right?
Yeah, that's street with house number, yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning slowly. quite slowly. We'll leave that at a 95% fuzzy match. But now you see, we're not going to get those matches that Daniela didn't want. So now we're matching on the data, excluding that. And now she's got the match results up here that she wanted. We can look across and see, yeah, they look like matches, but look, that Gushenspartner number is different. And that's how we overcame that problem. Daniela, does that answer it properly?
Yes, perfect. It included some more cleaning on my part from the first match. We found out some more problems between our interfaces, between the systems. But yeah, it was good, definitely.
That's always good to hear. Yes, you do have quite unique data. And in the way that you have to select your master records from your data, it is unique. But we did it. Well, we're still doing it, to be precise. We're still doing it. We're working through it, which is the main thing. Just looking on the side here, Christine Codhigh. We're considering upgrading to Business Pro Edition. Explain about the knowledge-based library. Christine, I will. Let me get through Mark's question, because his is quite complex, and then I'll be answering that question afterwards. So, Mark, please give me your question.
So my question is, on the project that I'm working on, we have more than 50 source systems, and we have a lot of duplication in the customer and vendor information, which in the new to-be system is going to be merged together into a one business partner function. So we could have, for example, the same address as a customer, and that might also be a supplier, and that could then be replicated in 50 systems. So you could essentially have 100 records for the same address details. And what we're looking to do is to merge them, create a golden record, make that golden record reference back to the source data. And this is going to be done in releases. So, for example, the first 3 systems we're looking at, I've got 3 sets of data. We need to merge that data and then come up with a method on when the next release comes along, how we can match that data to the golden record and carry on from there.
Fantastic. So we dealt with that in 2 stages. So that's what I'm going to show you, is those 2 stages that we went through together. So let me flick back to presenting. I wish I could do it seamlessly, but I don't seem to be able to be seamless. It must be a me thing. There we go. Right. So back on to Mark's data. Now, with Mark's data, what I did is Mark originally wanted to create a golden record ID. Okay. So what I did is, sorry, with Mark's data, that one, ID, let's assume this to be a unique account number. Now, obviously, that could be anything. It could be an existing account number. It could be a unique company registration number, or it could just be like I've done in Excel from 1 to 20,000. Okay. And what I did on that unique column is I copied it and renamed it the golden record ID so that it was clear to me what I'm working with. Okay. So then in matching, now, what did we match on? Remind me, Mark.
We would want to match on the VAT number, the company name.
Yeah.
Which the company name I wouldn't want 100% because some of them are different, although they mean the same thing. So 95 is probably okay. Then the postcode, city.
I think it was the city, wasn't it?
The CIN number as well, actually. That should be 100% now.
Super.
And then further down into the postcode, city, and street even. So for example, the postcode should be a match. the city should be a match, and then the street, not 100%, but something like 95.
Like that. You comfortable with that?
Yes, that'll do us for now, yeah.
Okay. Hope we've got some matches. You sent me the data.
We've definitely got matches.
Superb. Right. So on all those criteria at 95% and 100%, these are the groups of matches we've got. And when we look at that, company name and country seems to be a bit skew-iff, doesn't it?
Yes. Don't know what's happened there.
Nor do I.
Are you sure that's my data set? Because that doesn't look like my data.
Well, I changed the names, didn't I?
Looks like some of the headers have a different name, Kathryn.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll just do it that way. There we go. So there's our results. We can see that, yeah, there are 100% matches on the numbers, and on the names, they look pretty comfortable matches there. I think you'd agree, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing we did with Mark's data is obviously we have this golden record ID here, which we've taken from the original ID. So the first thing that Mark wanted to make sure of is that he didn't lose any of the original IDs, but had a new golden record number that was unique. Okay, so what we did for that, just unhide that, is we selected a master record based on, I don't think we actually did rules together, did we, Mark? So let's just say most populated in this scenario. So we selected the most popular record in all of these. And then what we did is we updated and overwrote the golden ID number at the end there, that newly created one, from the master record. And said, okay, whatever that number is the correct golden record number. Yeah. And we updated. And what that did for us is it meant that Mark had the original ID here. Just move that to there. The original ID was still there against each of those entries. So he hadn't lost that. But the matches each got given the right golden ID record. Okay. So Mark could now export this and say, okay, we've got the master here that we know has all of the original IDs and the linkage to a golden record ID. So we'd exported that sheet first, obviously under all data, to make sure that that original record was there. Yeah. Then what we wanted to do after that, Mark, was to merge it, wasn't it? Once you'd got a record and you knew that all those numbers were there. So what we then did is we merged these records together, but in the ID, we kept all the values. So although we were going down to one record, we didn't lose all of the IDs from all the different companies that we've now merged together. Was that right, Mark?
Yeah.
Super. So by clicking merge now, as you can see in all data, because obviously there's no matching records now, it's kept all those ID values, but there's only one record and it's got the golden record ID against it. And there's only one golden record ID, obviously. So that's how we did that for Mark, which he could again then export on that to keep that record as well. Does that answer that fully, Mark?
It does. The only thing that I would have to do for the next release is I would first have to load the golden records into the tool, or combine the golden record data set with the next release's data set.
Absolutely. Customers do it a number of ways. If they're using a system that has unique IDs, they might create those IDs within the sheet to make that the golden number, so that when you're loading in, it's matching with the other numbers.
Yes, I would be putting the new ID that the system generates into the sheet, and then we could create a rule based on that new ID being the first select kind of parameter. So that would work.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, I think I got through that without mucking up too much. What do you reckon, guys?
Yeah.
She says
was nice.
confidently.
And great question, Mark.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have the same issue later on.
Me too.
You will not have an issue because I'm here to help you.
Exactly.
We're having solutions.
Yes.
Right, let me just have a look at these questions that have come in that are interesting. Let's start with Kristen. So Kristen, we are considering upgrading to the Business Pro edition. Now, you guys will know this. On the Business Pro, you now have the knowledge base library, which I know I've run through with you. Can you please explain more about the knowledge base library and how it works? No, you guys explain this because I've explained it to you. I wouldn't do it to you. I wouldn't. Right, let me just share my screen and answer that for you, Kristen. There we go. There we go. Right, so let's go to configuration here. As you'll see, when you go to Pro Business or Enterprise Server, you have the knowledge base library. And this is a really powerful feature, and you can see these preloaded areas here, address, company type, postcodes. So what does it actually do? Well, the knowledge base library is a way of telling the software not to bother matching things that aren't important in a match. So if you're matching an address and you have all these abbreviations that are in address, alleyway, street, boulevard, building, center, these aren't relevant in your fuzzy matching. But if you've got somewhere called Cup Street and you do a 95% match with something called Cape Street, then you're going to have a match. By using the knowledge base library, it's looking only at cup and whatever other word I just said, cake. It's looking at those two things. It's not looking at street. So it's not including it as part of the matching process. So that's really powerful on things like company types. If you've got company names and limited after it or company after it or enterprise, it ignores those values and doesn't include them in the matching, which gives you a much better fuzzy match result. And certainly a much better exact match result if it's ignoring LTD and limited. Yeah. You can also use it to replace things. So I've got Coke and Fanta here as an example. So Coke owns Fanta. Well, you could build a list here of hierarchy that you know. So you want Coke to match with Fanta. Well, there isn't any matching software in the world that is going to match Coke and Fanta. But by telling it that they do match, it will match them. So you can build your own hierarchy structure for your customers. It can be used for foreign languages where you know that street is actually Strasser. You know it's the same thing. And you can tell the software to match them together. So it's used for languages. It's used for hierarchy. It's used for some strange things. Old product part numbers versus new product part numbers. We're telling the system that old number is the same as that new number. So that's the knowledge base library. It's really powerful. You can add as many directories as you like and as many fields in the directory as you need. And you can use the drop-down box to select what you want against each of the matching criteria. You guys, you think that answers that properly?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good
Yes.
Cool.
summary.
So, yeah, it's so powerful, isn't it? But it's not until you start using it and building it that you realize how much better your match results get. I'm just looking at this question from John Richards here. Is that the John Richards I think it is? I think it is the John Richards I think it is. Is there a way to match? Let me just click on that, sorry. Is there a way to match field against field? E.g., if a field holds a vendor's number and field B also sometimes hold a vendor's number, but the field is different. How do we match these two records? Now, Daniela, you know how to answer that one, don't you? So yes, there is a way to do it, John. What you need to do, though, is share my screen again. I should stop sharing, really, should I? Right, there we go. So let's take, that's not a great example. I don't have the two sheets to make that a great example, but I can do it just like this. So when we've got two sheets, and I'm presuming from your question you've got two sheets, I'm hoping you have. If you haven't, you've only got one sheet, load it twice, okay? And have test sheet 1 and test sheet 2. And the way to get those matchings against two different columns is to tell the software that a column is matching against a column that it's not matching against. So I could say that Guffenscharten partner, I did it better last time, Guschenspartner, why do I keep picking that word? Honestly, I know I can't say it. So what we're doing is we're saying to the system, match postcode against Guschenspartner, even though they're actually not in the same field or column. So that's how you overcome matching things that are different. And as I say, if you've got only one spreadsheet, load it twice and do that. And then you'll get those match results you want. I just want to see if I've answered that question properly for John. I'm not getting a thumbs up from him. He's disappeared. He's gone off to test that out, I think. I hope. Oh, there he is. We have one sheet. Yes, you do. So John, just load it twice, rename the second one so that you know what you're doing and do the match that way, and you will get the result you want. Okay, any more questions from our wonderful audience today? And you three, don't you ask me a question because I know you'll try and catch me out.
I think you do have an additional question in the chat.
Do I? Okay. What have you seen there, Francesca? Tell me.
Daily Inspirations one.
Daily Inspirations. Dan from Canada. Oh, yes, thank you. Let me just show that one. On the matching configuration, what is the difference between a rule and a condition?
That's a great one.
Yeah, very good question. Thank you. Let me show you. Okie dokie. And flick down. So the difference between a rule and a condition, let's take Mark's here. So now you saw those selections that we made for Mark's data. We said company name, country, city, postcode. And let's say that the postcode was a black match and these were fuzzy. Now, this is one rule, okay? This is rule 1. So in rule 1, the company name, the country, the city, all must be 95% and the postcode must be 100%, okay? And that's one rule. All of those must apply for that to become a match. So I can add a second rule, and I can add a second rule saying the street, the count, the postcode, whatever I like. I can add a second rule with the same criteria, but a lower fuzzy match. I could change that down to 90%, for example. So when you have a rule, all of the conditions must apply. When you have a load of conditions, obviously you're reducing your matching rate because every single condition must meet that 95%. So if country only meets 90%, that is not going to be a match for you. So some customers do the same rule, but for rule 2, they lower that fuzzy level. And for rule 3, they lower it again so that they can see all the results in one. But those not found in rule 1, then it does it on rule 2. And those not found in rule 2, it does it on rule 3. And the conditions are those within the rule. Did I explain that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
But can I ask an additional question on this?
Oh, no, not
Since
you.
you're showing it.
Not you, Francesca. You promised me you'd be nice.
I promised you'd be nice.
Go on then.
I know, it's just, I think you answered me during the training already, but I think it's good for others as well. And by the way, I'm a very basic user. Kathryn is spending a lot of time with myself to bring me up to speed. But on the rules and conditions, you can add, for example, 2 different rules as you were showing now.
Yes.
How would actually, if 2 records or 3 records are matching for different rules, how does it look like when you look at that?
Okay, well, they can't, because if it matches in rule 1, it only looks at the data that isn't matched for rule 2. And if it matches in rule 1 and 2, it only looks at the data not matched for rule 3. So it's working its way down sequentially through the rules.
So there is a sort of hierarchy in the rules from
rule
1.
1 is the main rule. There isn't a hierarchy in the condition, but there is in the rule.
Okay, that's great. Thanks. See, I was nice.
You were, actually. It's unusual for you. All right, I'll send you that bottle of wine. Fine.
Thank you.
It will be empty because she'll have drank it, but she'll send the bottle.
You know, I should have just filled this with wine and pretended, shouldn't I? I must next time. We've got one from Peda here. If you match on a name and name 1 and name 1A, name 1, 5 character, and name 2 and name 2A have 16 characters, then the fuzzy match percentage would be different. Absolutely. So if you've got a name with 5 characters and a name with 16 characters, then, oh, sorry, thank you, Farah. Then yes, you're going to have to go pretty fuzzy to find something matching 5 characters to 16. You would have to go quite low on your fuzzy match for that. What you might want to do in that scenario is clean it first. So perhaps on a name 1A, you've got the name and the surname all in the same column. So you might want to split it up, or you might want to do some cleaning, especially if the name has limited or things after it. But yeah, you'd have to go pretty fuzzy, yeah. Definitely a different percentage. But that's the great thing about using the rules and going all the way down the rules, because you can start quite tight. You can start at an exact match on rule 1 and then go 98% fuzzy and just work your way down. So you'll find all the matches in one go, but you won't get to the really fuzzy until the end, by which case you haven't got so much data to try and concentrate on. Oh, you're welcome, Daily Inspirations. Right. Well, we've got no more questions. It was fantastic having you all with us today. Really enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it too. I think from Mark's question, you both did.
Definitely.
So appreciate that, Mark. As I say, we are going to be having another one of these next month with my colleague Matt. And any questions that you send after, perhaps if you're watching this webinar afterwards, feel free to type in the comments and we'll make sure that Matt covers those questions next webinar. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell my boss how fantastic I am. You know, Christmas is soon, you never know. I might get a bottle of wine and a hamper. But I really do appreciate you all joining me. Thank you to everybody out there. And I hope very much we'll see you at our next Q&A session. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.